Hello, everybody. My name is Caleb, and you're watching Live for Love TV. Like, share, and subscribe. Thank you.
Hey guys, you ever hear about Live for Love TV? I want you to like, share, and subscribe. Check it out, it's a bomb.
Hi, welcome back to Live for Love TV, the 12th day of the 10th month of the 22nd year inside the 21st century. Hope everyone's doing well out there. Well, the evidence is starting to come in, drips and drabs, and some big major papers are coming in on what the whole world has been through over the last 2 to 3 years. Now, there are people, big YouTubers, and one doctor in particular, who dealt with the COVID situation really well, checked out the papers, read them back to the people, and he was on it every day. Now, he's not someone who just came into this because of COVID, or YouTube just because of COVID, because he was doing YouTube 10, 12 years before as a doctor from a medical perspective. But the COVID blew up his subscriptions. He's gone way over 2.4 million people subscribed to his station, to his YouTube channel now. So anybody who's watched anything to do with COVID on the YouTube will know who I'm talking about. He's a doctor. Anyway, he's recently reviewed some of the data and the evidence to who were the most in line people to probably catch the COVID virus that was going around from whenever they declared it in 2020. Whether it was 2019, it was declared in 2020 by the WHO, and now he's putting out the papers that actually go, scientific papers that show you who was in the firing line and the parts of the world of where the people were affected the most. And it is damning for all of those people who are putting pressure on myself, many other people like me, when I said, something's not quite right here. Because the papers are straight away, the papers are starting to show that there is a genetic predisposition to some of the people who have been getting the COVID and actually getting serious disease from the COVID. And the biggest genetic disposition is not just age, what we were told, age is a massive one, but the genetic disposition is actually the, what do they call it, Neanderthal, hard for me, can't get that right, but that gene that goes way, way back to some part in Europe, that's the gene that if you have that gene, then you are twice as likely to get it and twice as likely to people who haven't had that gene than to pass out from it. Now, what's interesting about that gene is it has not been found in people from sub-Saharan Africa, which means down from the Sahara, going all the way down, not North Africa, going down towards the east to west and down to the south. It's not been found in them. So the hypothesis has always been that people moved and migrated out of Africa, met up with these other type of people who were some sort of, and somehow interbred with them, yeah? And that's where the gene is in so many other human beings. That would be the Chinese, the Asians, basically everybody except the sub-Saharan Africans. And when you look at the death rates and you look at the illnesses and sicknesses, it plays out perfectly. That you look on where exactly people were dying and why and what was happening, it plays out perfectly to exactly that evidence that's now showing. Now, I'm going to go a little bit further because, this is Live for Love TV. I can go even further. And I'm saying that not only do these people have that gene that causes them to be more, infectious and more of a deadly disease, there's also a consciousness that goes with this. Because I was at no point worried about this thing. And there were a lot of people were saying that people like us, we're suspicious of everybody, and we are called it Babylon system, and it's nothing to do with that. It's just that sometimes you know what to fear. Sometimes you go somewhere and you think this place ain't a good place to be. I need to move away from here. And other times people are worried, and you're saying, why are they worried? Well, I would say that if you've got that gene in you, then it also, as all genes do, have something to do with your thinking. And maybe this is why the Chinese, who apparently have the highest rate of this particular gene in them, were so terrified from day one. Months before, I traveled in 2019. I'm talking about early 2019, and I remember being in the airport and seeing all these Chinese people with masks. And this was about 7-8 months before anyone had mentioned anything to do with this COVID. So I don't know what that was about, but that was, now when I look back, I'm thinking, what was going on there? What did they know? What are they frightened of? And so we saw, as time has moved on, that now the evidence is coming out. And so one thing I never agreed with, that we were all at the same level of risk. We knew we were not all at the same level of risk due to age, but now we're knowing due to our backgrounds, we're not all at the same level of risk. Now, anybody who is sub-Saharan, who's obviously during the slave trade come to the Caribbean, South America, Americas, wherever they are, in the UK right now, it's a good chance that you've got a lot of mixture in you. Yeah. Question of, I don't know if you've got a Neanderthal gene in you at all. I wouldn't have a clue about that, because there's a lot of mixture that went on during the days of slavery. So forced mixture. Let's make that clear. It was enforced mixture. But whether or not the sub-Saharan gene was able to wipe out that gene or not allow that gene to be in you, I don't know. I have no idea about that whatsoever. But there may be a chance that there is there. But the sub-Saharan people, when you look on the map, they hardly got touched. They thought it was about vitamin D, which may have something to do with it. But vitamin D was not the only reason to why they were not being affected like the rest of the world. Now, I'm saying this because I want to be clear. I've said this long before I ever did a YouTube channel, and I want to say it and make it clear to people. We are all not the same, completely the same. We're just not all the same. There are different things that make us up, even within our racial groups, let alone outside of our racial groups. So those people who are continually listening to doctors and other people that don't look like them, don't have that background that they have, and following them, you're going to find yourself in lots of problems. If they say this is high blood pressure, this may be high blood pressure for that particular race. It doesn't necessarily mean it's high blood pressure for your race. You have to start to take your own health, your own mindset, your own consciousness, the things that are important to you, how freedom looks to you. You have to take these things seriously. You can't allow other people, and it's not that we're not all human, but other people have different demographics, different thought patterns, different ways, different fears. And if you take their fears and make them your fears, believe me, you're going to become mentally ill. There's nothing that will make anybody more mentally ill than to take the fears of a different group of people and put it over into you. And this is what making so many people, especially in places like America and the UK and places like that, mentally ill, because they've become fearful of things that have nothing to do with them. They have no reason to be afraid of. As I was saying a few years ago, I didn't see the big P that they said it was, the whole world. I couldn't see that. I didn't understand that. When I've got people, friends, family who were telling me this is what it is. WHO say this is what it is, so therefore it is. And I'm thinking, well, this is ridiculous. These people can say whatever they want and retract whatever they want, because this is how they behave. Look at the history of many of the people in power. They make statements, get everybody on board, get you into a position, and then later on they retract, or they say, oh, well, we didn't have enough evidence to make that. I mean, but yet you had powerful evidence to say you were right in the first place. This has been going on for as long as, well, way before I was born and way before anybody watching this channel was born. You have to start to think for yourself. Everybody has something up here. You don't need, including me, you don't need me to think for you. And you certainly don't need the governments and all these other people to be doing your thinking. You need to be doing that thinking for yourself. And if you make a mistake, own up and say you made a mistake for yourself. Don't allow other people to make that mistake for you. Because now a lot of people are having problems in different ways, financial problems, medical problems, all kind of problems based on this thing that's happened a few years ago. And they're looking around and they're telling you, oh, well, this is the reason and that's the reason. And I'm saying, well, it was clear. To me, it was very, very clear. You have to start to think for yourself. You should have been thinking for yourself before the problem happened. Therefore, when the problem happens, you can see through it. If you only try thinking for yourself at the time of chaos or calamity, you're going to have a very, very hard time seeing what's actually happening in front of you. Yeah. So be very, very careful with these people and keep watching the evidence as it comes out. As people are dropping, younger people are dropping. There's now different states in America that are actually saying they don't want people to take this big V, the big V. They don't want people to take it anymore between this age and that age. because they're finding evidence that it's more harmful for them than the actual thing that was going around. As if by magic, as if by magic, as if they just found these things out. These are things that are known. Money plays a massive part into how things happen. And these are things that are known. And they used their celebrities, these TV personalities, these people who are on the morning shows, whether in America or in the UK or in Canada or wherever in the Caribbean. They use these people to push their narrative, because you watch them every morning, to push their narrative. And then they start, when it goes wrong, they start backtracking and saying, well, we're only doing what we were told. It sounds a bit like what the German soldiers used to say after they were caught doing all their atrocities. Oh, they were only following orders. It's always the excuse. People don't want to own up and say, no, I'm not going to follow that order because that order is inhumane. It's wrong. And if I have to lose my job or whatever it is, I'm not going to do it. People need to do that when they're in these jobs, because you can't be getting so many people to follow something that you yourself have not researched. But anyway, we're going to get back to this again. I didn't think that we'd be back at it so quickly, because I do know the evidence of the next 3 or 4 years is going to come out. It's going to be 10 times more damning than what they've just come out with. There's no doubt about that, because there's a lot of angry people out there. A lot of people who lost jobs and lost money and lost family members, and they're not going to let this thing go. It's going to keep going on, keep going on. So until such time, take care. See you soon. Live for Love TV.
One step